Hello everyone, it's Omae and welcome back to another OPTC Cruise video. This video we're going through a level 30 plus 1 versus all team using the new rare recruits Morgans. So if you are someone who does not have any of the more recent characters besides Morgans, didn't pull the other rare recruit for Kizuna or the the new Bonnie supporter recruit, who's the other booster, then this is the 1 versus all for you. So this exact order and placement of units is very important. Make sure it is exactly as is, and make sure you are starting off in these forms of the dual units. You need to be in the Dex form of Robin Koala and the quick form of Nami and Karina. In terms of supports, the only one that is required, quote unquote, is going to be Brule. Doflamingo and Raise Max is very helpful, but they are not 100% required for the team to function. Then we have Robin and Koala, who's great for their barrier reduction and their cooldown, as well as the threshold that the color affinity that they provide in their special. Then we have Morgans, of course, is great for getting around Burn, Despair, giving us a full board of recovery orbs that's counted as matching. They have Super Class, they give us base attack boost and an orb boost. So overall, just a very helpful unit. And they also get around the 1 turn of paralysis on the second stage of one of the bosses with the crewmate ability of our bottom right Morgans. Then we have our Stasi CB0 character, and they're great for the Stasi part of the character, which does proc the super class of Morgans. They also get around enemy threshold by weakening it, and also give us a base a chain boundary buff that is going to help us with damage immensely. Then we have Perona, who's very important here because she does have hunger, resistance in her potential abilities. Make sure that is maxed so that we can get around 2 turns of hunger on the Dex variant at level 30 plus. Then we have our Nami and Karina, who's probably the most important character here. They do more than even Morgans. They are going to give us G orbs, which is probably the most important and unique part of the kit. And it is very important because in a lot of these bosses, our regular orbs as well as wonder orbs are going to be made very weak. So you can't use units that give you wonder orbs because they're going to be very, very weak and they're going to give you no damage output. G orbs are kind of like an outlier here, so they are very good for our damage, especially since Nami Karina makes them a 2.25x counted as matching, which is even better than normal matching orbs. They also give us barrier reduction, an attack boost. They give us enemy damage reduction, utility. They also give us paralysis reduction, and the super swap is going to allow us to get around the block orbs on one of the second stages. So overall, just a really good character, probably the least replaceable. Honestly, this team could probably be slightly altered to just be a no new batch team, because honestly the sub Morgans is not the most required character here, mainly just there for tickets. So honestly, if you are in the case where you don't have Morgans and you're still watching this video for some reason, then ask me in the comments. I might be able to find a replacement for Morgans himself. But with all that being said, let's get into the first variant against the strength variant, then we can move on to the quick, and then finally the dex variant of the 10 style Kizuna Clash versus Crocodile. Okay, so heading straight into the strength variant, and this is the one where I really did have to emphasize that you need to start in the Dex form of Robin Koala and the quick form of Nami Karina, because in this quest you only get quick strength Dex units getting their specials and super swaps charged, meaning your middle row is not charged, and that is not too big of an issue since we do get a lot of cooldown from preemptives moving into the next stage, and also the Robin and Koala special. So we're only using those characters on the final stage, so you don't have to worry about them. Robin and Koala, however, do have to get that cooldown because we are using them on the second stage. Oh no, we're not using them on the second stage, but they have a very high cooldown and they will not be ready by the final stage if you don't get that cooldown. On this stage, however, we are going to be using the super swap and the special of Nami and Karina. The strength form of Nami will give us the barrier reduction, and then we can use our special of Morgans, and then we'll swap the bottom right Morgans into our captain that will allow us to negate the captain swap that will randomly happen when Bartholomew Kuma dies. So that is great to have. At this point, you can just kill the enemy. I mean, our orbs are going to be changed anyway, so you don't have to change or keep any orbs for the final stage. So upon death, Kuma will give us a full board of unfavorable orbs. So the final stage, as you can see, our Perona is still at 2 cooldowns left after the preemptive, which is why the cooldown from our Robin and Koala is so important. I forgot to mention, but if you don't have a -2 cooldown ship, then stall 2 turns instead of 1 on the first stage. That is very important information. Sorry, I forgot about that. But either way, at this point, you can use the special of your CB0 for a chain boundary and getting around the enemy's threshold, or at least weakening it. Then you can use the super swap as well as the special of your Robin and Koala. It'll give you the barrier reduction, the cooldown, and also the color affinities from the super swap. Finally, you can use Perona for an attack boost and attack down reduction. And then finally, your friend captain or your Morgans to get around the remaining bad orbs. Use their super class as well, just for an attack boost buff that will help with damage a bit. And at that point, it is wraps for Crocodile. Just build up your chain, especially at the later levels. But as you can see there, the damage is plenty, even with the threshold still being quite annoying for our damage. And of course, the enemy death hit is tanked by the Robin and Koala special, another part of that unit that is very helpful in this quest. But overall, the team gets around it very well. Okay, now for the quick boss. Now this one, we do not have to worry about any cooldowns. You can kill on stage 1. This is the mini boss, or the boss that has the annoying effect that makes most orbs really weak. And this is where the G orbs are going to be very important. Now we do have the super swaps of our Robin and Koala as well as our Nami and Karina, but we are not going to be using them until the final stage. This is actually not the worst mini boss, or boss I mean. The stage 2 is actually the easiest out of all these, especially since we have Morgans. At this point, you can literally just use your friend Captain Morgans, and then that's it. Very simple stage 2. On the final stage, though, we are just going to be using our Nami and Karina swap, as well as raise max to get those G orbs. So as I said at the start of the video, you do not need to raise max, but it's really recommended, because otherwise your 1 Morgans will not be guaranteed a G orb, which is not ideal, right? So we are going to be getting Despair, the enemy will have damage reduction, and we have Paralysis. So of course, since we do have Paralysis and the enemy has damage reduction, we are going to be using the strength form of Nami and Karina, and that's going to negate both of those things. Then you can use the special of your Lucci, and that's going to give you a chain boundary. What you could actually do is use your bottom right Morgans on stage 2. That will not swap you into the captain, and then on the final stage you can use Lucci first, then he can become the captain. You can use his super type that will give you a cerebral resistance down for the enemy, and you can swap them back into the sub, and then you can use Morgans. So that was a bit complex, but basically it's just using the other Morgans on stage 2 in effectively that will allow you to get the extra damage from the Lucci super type, but it's really not required until later levels. This is level 46, by the way, just so you know, or 47, so the HP is already quite high at this point, but this team should still be able to handle it. You can use Perona for the attack down reduction and the color affinity. Once again, you should probably first use your Robin and Koala. That will allow you to get the stronger color affinity, and then finally you can use your Morgans for the buff to your attack boost. At that point, it's a bit unfortunate that we did get some of our G orbs taken away from the Robin and Koala super swap, so you could probably actually just not use their super swap. It's definitely not required. And then as you can see, it's a very easy kill, not even both of our Morgans. So really, at the end of the day, you do not need to raise max for the second G orb guaranteed, if I'm being honest. it still gets through it very easily, and you don't need to worry about using Lucci's super type. It's not required. You don't need that extra 20% resistance down on the enemy until you get to really high levels, which I doubt most people are going to be even going that far. So let's get into the final and most annoying boss against Gex. Okay, so while this is the most annoying mini boss, because especially the enemy does have a revive and his stage 2 is very annoying, even if you do have Morgans. But this team has very good characters that can negate that. Robin and Koala, your Lucci, all these characters do give you buffs that last multiple turns. That is great for the final stage where we do need to get around the revive as well. The revive is only 15% though, so it just completely decimates the revive. You don't have to worry about it. We do get a bunch of random annoying orbs on the final stage. Not all of them get swapped out for, with the special of Morgans, however, so you do have to be careful about that, which is why we do kind of need that Brule support to get around block orbs. But besides that, you can use your Morgans, the bottom right Morgans on stage 2 here. The reason is, as I said in the previous team, getting the Lucci 20% increased resistance or decreased resistance for the enemy is going to be important for damage. On this one, it actually does matter though, because the damage is a lot less on this fight because we don't have an attack boost. So with that being said, we can kill off the second stage. Moria does not stand a fighting chance. And the final stage, we are going to be getting... oh yeah, also I forgot to mention, but another reason why we are getting Lucci to the captain is because he's going to extend the chain boundary, which is also really nice for the revive. So it's just about extending the buffs, making sure that we have enough damage that is spread out enough for us to also be able to kill on the revive. But as you can see, there's a barrier on stage 2 and 3, which is another reason why this is so difficult. But once again, we can use the super swap and special of our Robin and Koala. Robin and Koala is great as well because they also give us a 2-turn color affinity, a 2-turn orb boost, in addition to everything else that they give. We can use our Lucci and swap them into the captain. We do have 6 cerebrals, so we do get the super type procced. And that's going to allow us to get the super type and disable switch captains, as well as give the enemy resistance down and extend the chain boundary. At that point, you can just use the special and the super class of your Morgans. That's going to get rid of the bomb orb, as well as give you a captain swap effect. At this point, you can just kill off the enemy. I don't know why I tapped with Morgans first. Definitely not my smartest idea, but the damage is still pretty good, so you don't have to worry. This is level 36 by the way, so it should also be able to last around level 50 plus at least. So oh yeah, and the despair we get gets removed by the captain effect of your Morgans. I mean, the super class is kind of useless to use at that point, and the damage is calling for itself. We do have a boundary, an orb boost, and a color affinity still, as well as matching orbs. So the revive is no problem, but that's going to be it for this teams. It took me a while to build this, so that's why it's kind of late. If you do need replacements, I definitely think there is potential for replacements. Definitely is a bit hard to replace units like Nami and Karina though. But just ask me if you need anything in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. I'm not touching the super boss, so don't even ask about that. I was planning on making free-to-play teams, but definitely not viable in terms of time. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and share to other people who are struggling with this Kizuna and might have Morgans. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.